Hi everybody, it's Natalie Hemmens, your favorite Southern California realtor. Today I'm here to talk to you about reverse mortgages and how you, your friends, and your family can benefit from this financial product. My special guest today is Kevin, who is the president of Senior Financial Group. Kevin, welcome.
Well, thanks, Natalie. I'm so glad to be a part of this. I'm looking forward to our conversation. It's exciting.
It is exciting. And I think that reverse mortgages have changed so much over the years. There's a lot to talk about now with the new products and everything. So why don't we start with what a reverse mortgage is and how it works?
Okay, fantastic. Great start. So first of all, as Natalie said, my name is Kevin. I'm the owner of Senior Financial Group, and I've actually been specializing in reverse mortgages now. This is my 20th anniversary.
Wow.
So I'm pretty proud of myself for doing it that long. It's the only kind of loans I do. So I do specialize in this, and these are the only loans that I do work on. So to your point, as far as what is a reverse mortgage, that's an excellent question. I get this probably constantly. So what it does, it's a FHA insured, underwritten program, which allows older folks that are at least 62 years of age or older to access a portion of their equity from their home. People who want to stay in their home and say, I need a little bit more money, or whatever the case may be. We are required to pay off any existing liens on the property. That way we will be in first position. And again, the best thing about these, well, there's many best things about it, but the best thing about it is a borrower or borrowers, husband and wife, or single person, whatever that may be, they're never required, Natalie, to make a mortgage payment as long as they live in that property as their primary residence. And by the way, taking that a step further, any proceeds available with this program are tax-free, which is pretty exciting. So it's not counted as income against you. But you are allowed to stay in your home for as long as you live. It's up to you. If you decide to sell in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, that's your decision. But the program has really been exciting. As Natalie mentioned, there's been a lot of changes, especially in the time frame that I've been doing this 20 years. More and more safeguards are being put into place. The old adage is this is bad and we're going to take your home. That's absolutely false. But the program is very, very strong, and the federal government is behind it 100%. It's actually been around for over 30 years. A lot of people think that it just started like 2 years ago, but it's been around for a long time. I know it's pretty crazy.
Changed, so it's
things change. Exactly correct. Kind of new. Exactly right.
So Kevin, let me ask you, so if you could find the ideal client who would be perfect for the reverse mortgage financial product, who would that be?
Okay, that's a great question. So the perfect client, if that's such a term, would be somebody who is looking to stay in their home, of course, that's the goal, and who wants to pay off, say they have a current mortgage, whatever the case may be, and maybe they're getting a little tight on funds, okay? Then they want to pay that mortgage off. Well, we can do that for them. So that's a great point. Now, I've got other people doing other things. Believe it or not, it's really changed in the 20 years. I've got people who are, finally being able to put some money out of their home and be able to travel or be able to help their grandkids. Instead of leaving them an inheritance when they pass, they're able to do that now and see their grandkids or children, for that matter, use some of that money, and it brings everybody a lot of joy. So there are a lot of opportunities for this program as far as what people want to do with it. But taking that a step further, Natalie, as far as the money's concerned, they can use the proceeds that they receive any way they want. We have no say in that whatsoever. It's their money. They can use it any way they want. They want to travel, fantastic. They want to go buy that new sports car that they've wanted for a long time, they can do that too. So there's a lot of different options for that.
Perfect. And then, so I know that there is an age requirement. I believe it's 62 or older. And do both the people have to be 62 or just one when you're talking about people in the household?
That is an excellent question. So the good news is one of the borrowers is required to be at least 62, okay? If we do have the other borrower, wife, husband, whoever is under 62, we can still keep them on the loan, which is wonderful. So the best thing is, I'm going to go back in a little history right now. So years and years ago, if we had a borrower, then we call it a non-borrowing spouse, okay? And if he or she was under 62, and unfortunately, if something happened to the borrower, the non-borrowing spouse would have to do something with the property, okay, which was really bad and gave us a black eye. So HUD and FHA came up with a new rule: as long as the non-borrowing spouse was married at the time and living in the property, he or she can stay there as long as they want, even after the actual borrower passes away. So that was a huge thing for us, which makes the program even safer. As I mentioned, there's been safeguards, almost every year added to this program, but that's a great question. So to your point, yes, one person has to be at least 62, the other person does not.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And I think one of the really exciting products with the reverse mortgage is the reverse mortgage for purchase. Can you talk about that and what that entails?
That's excellent. So that actually came about in 2009, so it's been around for a while. So what that does is it allows folks, maybe they live in this 2,500 square foot home in whatever city they live in, and the kids have moved out. Obviously, they don't want the stairs anymore. They don't want the pool. They don't want to mow the grass. They want to have some fun. So what they're doing is, for example, let's say somebody has selling their home, and maybe they walk away with, after paying off their loan or whatever the case may be, a few $100,000. Let's say $500,000. Well, they can go buy a $500,000 home and pay cash, which is phenomenal because they won't have a payment. But then maybe their savings is a little short. So with the reverse mortgage for purchase, we can help them purchase that new home with a substantial down payment in their part, so to speak, about 50%, 50%. So they would purchase the home with a reverse mortgage. So that would be able to hopefully leave them some cash in the bank or whatever they want to do, not mess with their retirement plans and stuff like that. Live in the home, it's their home, and then never required to make a mortgage payment, which is amazing. So I'm getting a lot more of those because people are like, we can't afford the home that we really want. Well, this is a great way to make that happen. So basically, having a reverse mortgage right from the start, it's just amazing. It's awesome.
That is a great product for people to know about. And thank you for informing us about that.
Sure.
I can't wait for this information to be out, because I think that's one of the things, like you said, it came about in 2009, did you say?
2009, that particular program. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, so the reason they did that, let me give you a little bit of history, is prior to that, so say, because I've been doing this for a long time, prior to that, someone would go pay cash for the home, or they'd get a loan and buy the home, right? Then we'd come in behind that. But what happens is, Natalie, is that the borrowers would have to pay two sets of closing costs, whether they're getting the loan or whatever they're doing. So this eliminates that. So it's phenomenal. It really works well.
Wonderful, wonderful. And can we talk about how the home equity line of credit differs from the reverse mortgage?
Of course. The biggest thing is, with a home equity line of credit, you're required to make a payment on that, correct? And a conventional home equity line of credit.
Yeah.
The reverse mortgage line of credit is awesome. So you can access money out of that line of credit as often as you'd like, in any amount. It's their money. There's two major pluses to that. So the first plus is, again, any money received is tax-free. Tax-free. So the second thing is with the line of credit with the reverse mortgage, you're not paying interest on that because you have not borrowed that money. So to take that a step further, this is the best part of all. So that line of credit actually has what's called a growth feature. It doesn't earn interest, because if it earned interest, someone would have to pay taxes on it. You'd have to turn that into your tax burden. This has what's called a growth factor. So it takes the interest rate plus 0.5%, and any money left in the line of credit, Natalie, grows over time. What does that do? That allows the borrower access to more money. Ooh. And it's their money. They can never be frozen. It can never be taken away, anything of that nature. That's guaranteed. Once the final loan docs are signed, that line of credit is mandatory. That's theirs. So that's a plus. If someone says, well, Kevin, I don't really know if I want a monthly payment to myself. I don't know how much I need. I don't need a big lump sum of cash. They just say, I might need some money, here and there. Well, great. This is the perfect opportunity for them to do that.
As needed.
As needed, exactly. Yeah, that's a great point.
So you touched on this for just a minute, but can we go into more detail about the tax benefits of a reverse mortgage?
I sure can. So obviously, I'm not a tax professional. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a financial planner. I only do reverse mortgages.
Good disclosure.
Yeah, that's it. I'm the reverse mortgage guy. Okay. That's what I like to be called. So that being said, that's a great question. So again, as I'm getting back to this, so again, any money received from this program is tax-free. You do not pay taxes. It is not income. Secondly, it doesn't affect any Social Security, anything of that nature. If you're receiving those benefits, this does not affect that at all. You'll still be receiving your benefits, which is awesome. Okay. So that's another plus to this thing too. One thing I must bring up just as a point on the side is borrowers who have a reverse mortgage, they are still required to pay their property charges. And what I mean by that, their property taxes, their homeowners insurance, and also if they have HOA dues, they still have to pay those. And by the way, those do not change with this. In other words, the county does not reassess your property and say, well, you did this and we have to raise your taxes. Everything stays the same. So there's a lot of wins to this thing. People always say, well, what's the negative about this program? There's got to be a catch. What's going on? I go, believe it or not, there's no catch. This is all true. And one more thing, anybody who is even considering doing this, they are required to sit in with a HUD-approved reverse mortgage counselor. And what I always sit in is it's done over the telephone. You don't go meet anybody or anything like that. So that is, of course, a wonderful safeguard that lets, if they're talking to me or whoever they're speaking with, Natalie, to make sure they're getting the full story and someone's not trying to scam them. So they have to do that. And they actually get a certificate of completion, which we need to proceed. So that's another safeguard that the government put in place, that they have to sit in on that to make sure they understand how the program works and they're not trying to take advantage of or scammed. So that's a huge plus.
Yeah, that's a really good safeguard. They get educated on the product, so they fully
educated on the product.
Yeah.
What I like to do is I love to meet people face to face, if at all possible. I know COVID makes that difficult, but I want to make sure that everybody understands how the program works. I like their children to be there at the kitchen table, Uncle Bob, the neighbor, whoever they feel has a vested interest in their future. And make sure everybody's on the same page, make sure everybody understands it. So leaving a lot of information with them, going over it, to a certain extent to let them know how it works and stuff like that. And that makes them feel a lot better. So that's something I do personally.
Perfect. So I know that since reverse mortgages have changed over the years, there's a lot of misconceptions. And can we just go through the top 2 or 3 misconceptions that people have about reverse mortgages?
We sure can, because I hear the same questions every time. So one of the biggest ones is, okay, Kevin, if your company or the bank or whoever does a reverse mortgage, and you own my home, right, Kevin? No, we do not own anybody's home. We don't want any homes. We're not buying homes. We're not selling homes. That's not our business. It is the borrower's home. 100%. We are a mortgage. We're a lien against the property. That's the key. So we don't own any homes. We don't want to sell any homes. Okay. So we don't want to own homes or anything like that. At some point in time, of course, we're going to want our money back, but that can be, in 10, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever the case may be. So that's one of the biggest misconceptions. And second, I think another huge one is, well, my kids, what's going to happen to them? Okay, so let's say that the last borrower passes away or moves into a facility or whatever the case may be. The heirs have 2 options, okay? And they have some time to do this. I'll get into that in 1 second. They have 2 options. If they want to buy mom and dad's home or grandma and grandpa's home, they absolutely can. They can refinance it. They can come in with cash, pay off the reverse mortgage. There's no hidden cost at the end. There's no prepayment penalty, nothing of that sort. They pay it off or refinance it, the home is theirs. If they don't want the home, okay, say, no, we don't live around there anymore. We don't want the home. They find a realtor, like Natalie, of course, and say, there you go. List my property, Natalie, and please sell it. And so what would happen? And just like with a regular loan, what happens? It gets paid off. Any equity left in the home goes wherever the borrower say it goes. So hopefully most of the people out there have their property in living trust, because that's very important. That way you avoid probate. But getting back to my original point, those are 2 of the biggest things that I hear.
Yeah, biggest Yes, and
Yeah.
I have heard those ones, so
Yeah,
I'm
of
not
course.
at all
I think everybody has, yeah.
surprised. Yeah.
But we don't own homes. We don't own your home. I just want to clarify that. Just make sure I got that right.
Well, wonderful. Well, I do think that um, that's the end of my questions. Is there anything else that you would like to add for our viewers?
I really would if we can have just a minute or two. So
Yeah.
yes, there's the FHA program, which has been around, like I said, for many, 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 many years. But there's also programs called jumbo reverse mortgages. Okay. So those are for high valued homes.
Mhm.
For example, it probably starts making sense for a home that's 1.5 million and above. So what it is that allows people to access more money. For example, I've done many $5 million homes, $10 million homes. We can actually lend up to $4 million on some of those homes. So it's a huge, huge amount of money. I know you're sitting back and like, wow, I know that's pretty cool, isn't it? So that it's not a government loan, but it follows all the same rules. The guidelines and everything are exactly the same. So that's just something to think about if somebody's interested in a reverse mortgage. They say, well, I'm looking at the FHA, but their homes are 2 million, 2.5 million, 3 million, whatever it is. They may have the opportunity to access more proceeds from the jumbo. And that's been around for quite a while. And depending on where you live, homes are pretty expensive. That may be an option for them.
And
So that would be
it's just called jumbo because of the loan amount, not because
exactly correct. Exactly correct. You're 100% correct. But I've done a lot of these in my 20 years. And I'm going to be honest with you. The biggest joy I get, because people are intimidated, people are concerned, people are nervous about doing this, but making them feel comfortable. I'm always there with them, making sure they understand. But I've sat at so many tables with people signing their final loan documents, and they're tearing up a little bit. And I go, is everything okay? They go, this is the best thing we've ever done. We're getting rid of all that financial pressure. We haven't been able to pay our doctor bills. We haven't been to travel. We haven't been able to buy our grandkids anything. It's just a major thing for them. It's just amazing, the joy, and it changes a lot of lives for the better. It's incredible. It really is. It's a life-changing event.
I bet, and I mean, it's kind of going hand in hand with the American dream, because the American dream is to, kind of buy a home, own your home, and build that wealth. And you've done that. And now it's like, how do you utilize that wealth to live the rest of your life out and live the life of your dreams? Like, you have the home with the equity, and now you can do that when you use a reverse mortgage. So
you're 100% correct. Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Natalie. Perfect.
Wonderful. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining me today. This information.
Well, thanks for having me. This was amazing. I really enjoyed it.
I have enjoyed it as well. So I'm sure I'm going to see you around. And
I hope so. Yeah, that'd be
maybe
great.
Another video, who knows?
Whenever you're ready, I'm available. Okay.
All right, Kevin. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.